what Jeffrey Epstein did, who he did it to, and how the President of the United States was involved.
And right now, as the government is shut down, and one of the reasons that seems to be clear is that they don't want this discharge petition being signed by Adelita Grijalva, who would be the 218 signatures. She's that Democratic Congresswoman elect from Arizona's 7th Congressional District. And so, you know, behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, you know, you're reporting on Epstein, and you've been the best reporter, the person who's been you spoke with Epstein, you sat with the guy like no one else has done that. You've got hours and hours and hours of recordings of the guy, but you were warning about all of this. You were raising the red flag about these connections before anybody here. You know, we were amplifying a lot of the cover, what I think should have been out there at the time. But now you're seeing it in a way that's so damaging to the country. I mean, to people's health care, to people's lives. Like, that's what's so wild about this, too. So how do you make it? What do you make
Well,
of this?
we
Thank you,
we know
Amy.
it is the one subject that he does not want to address. It is the one subject that he has not been able to escape. You know, Donald Trump is I would say the thing that he ought to be best known for is his ability to change the subject. He has not been able to change the Epstein subject. I think partly because people understand that it
You
is
hear her
the key
purring?
to understanding so much about Donald Trump in particular, but our time in general and the nature of power and who has it and what powerful people do with it. This is you know, Jeffrey Epstein is the secret code ring in a sense, and Trump clearly knows this. Clearly knows that he, in
Yeah, me
any
too.
telling of Epstein's life story, he is deeply implicated, and he certainly has not figured a way to change that subject and get out of this fix. And the effort to sue me and to shut me up, and me along with others, is an effort to change the subject and shut down discussion of of his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. And I assume that that's what they thought they would accomplish by suing me. And I don't know
No,
why I am somewhat different from everyone else. I mean, I think
no,
I am
I don't
because I'm
like
an
questions.
individual. I'm not ABC, which is owned by the Disney company, and Disney has
I hate
myriad
questions. No.
has billions of dollars at issue, as CBS, which he sued. Um, so here I am, and you know, I have good lawyers.
Oh no.
Having said that, and let me say here that this is going to be
Great.
an
That's what I need.
expensive
Another fucking
process.
problem.
And I think it's going to be a fruitful one because I think it will cover all kinds of things. But whoever you are out there listening now, I will inevitably come to you through GoFundMe or other avenues for support. I think we are. This is not just me. This is an effort to get the truth of what Jeffrey Epstein means to Donald Trump.
Well, let us know whenever you have that set up. We'll have you back on to give us the update. Let us know when she's been officially served, when you get out that first round of discovery. I'd love to share with you know, our viewers here all of the discovery requests that she's going to be asked about her past connections, about Donald Trump's past connections, his subpoena when he gets subpoenaed. Under the precedent, the Clinton Jones case, he doesn't have executive immunity to try to block it. But I think that you have a path to get discovery there, especially with all that he said. So we'll be following it, Michael. And on behalf of journalists, you know, who care about the First Amendment across the country, I mean, a big thanks to you for standing up in a big way. We really appreciate it.
Well, it's going to be
In Washington, Donald Trump loaded up the Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade.
You have to ban it.
19
Well, that backfired in Donald Trump's face real quick. You may want to think a few steps ahead, Donald, before you have your own personal attorney masquerade as the top federal prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia without thinking through if her and your reckless and malicious conduct in going after your quote unquote political enemies could open up the Pandora's box to discovery. And we can now find out
Is it?
all of Donald Trump's direct messages, how he communicates with everybody in his cabinet, which apparently takes place via Truth Social DMs. Truth Social is a private company. It's owned by Trump. We have in all those SEC filings that Trump is being contracted on a private basis, not in his capacity as the president of the United States. By the way, Trump argued back in his first term when he was basically sued for his conduct in blocking people or doing other stuff on his @RealDonaldTrump account on Twitter. Trump was basically arguing, that's my personal account. That's not used for official purposes. So it'll be interesting to see if that legal strand finds its way back here. But the thing with that is that was owned by Twitter. Truth Social, and there's a Clarence Thomas dissent, by the way. In the case was eventually dismissed, the Twitter one, for mootness when Trump lost the election. But there's this great Clarence Thomas dissent saying we shouldn't be focused on Trump here. Twitter as the platform is the one that really should have been brought in, and they're the ones responsible. Great Clarence Thomas. Donald Trump owns Truth Social. Seems that your argument applies here. And we know that when Donald Trump made that social media post, hey, Pam Bondi, Pam, go after my political opponents, go after Comey and Schiff and Letitia James, he thought that was the direct message that he was sending to Pam Bondi. So he's likely having these conversations with Bondi, to Lindsey Halligan, who's now that former personal attorney of his, turned the top federal prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia. There's this big disqualification motion to get rid of Halligan because she didn't go through the steps to actually even become the top federal prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia. But the big motion that Comey filed, everybody, this past week, the motions to dismiss are being filed. Vexatious litigation, that this is a reprisal against him, that he's being targeted as a result of Trump basically ordering it. And as part of this motion to dismiss, on the grounds of a vexatious, as of a targeted, of a malicious, if you will, federal prosecution, what Comey asked for is, I want discovery. I'm going to show you the steps that were taken here in order to have this vexatious prosecution against me. Now, if you told me that Comey would go into DMs and we would find one that said, Pam, go after him, I would say that's the smoking gun of smoking guns, okay? So that's out there publicly. But what else don't we know that all these communications? I'm interested to see all of them. And not just as it relates to the Comey case, I'm interested to see, is this how Donald Trump is communicating with Kristi Noem and Bondi when it comes to Trump invading cities like Chicago and Portland? And, are they going back and forth there? Is Lindsey Halligan admitting nobody wants to try this case with me, Donald? We're going to get Halligan's messages. Now, Trump will try to assert executive privilege, blah, 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 blah. I shouldn't have to turn over discovery. Halligan doesn't have that argument. Bondi doesn't have that argument. They're going to try to make the argument, oh, since we were speaking with him, it's executive privilege. Well, then I could see a situation where the judge goes, bet, if you're not turning it over and we don't have it, that's your choice to make. But then you can't prosecute the person for it. So if you don't want to turn it over, fantastic, but then you can't do the prosecution. Or, Donald, you may have to testify. You may become a witness now in this because you put out in the public using your private social media, your Truth Social, as a private citizen account, that is, and you posted this. You're a witness in this case. And then Trump will be like, well, I don't have to testify. And I could see the judge. Let me bring in Harry Litman from Talking Feds, because this is interesting as I'm thinking about these permutations. I could see this getting to the point where the judge says, great, you don't want to turn over your stuff, Donald. Okay. You don't want to testify. I'm going to have no alternative and no option but to dismiss the case. So you'll have to make that choice.
Well, I don't like doing
right
this.
there as he gets cornered. What do you make of it, Harry?
It's really something. Remember, we've said this again and again. These motions normally go nowhere. All kinds of defendants believe the government's after them. but Jim Comey has a paper record like nothing else, and it's a really strong motion. It seems to me the only alternative for Nachmanoff's granting discovery is to just grant the motion outright, which Comey argues for, without even doing that. That would be a really extreme move, which is why I think we'll see a grant of discovery. And then, just as you say, it's what happened here. We want to be able to show the reprisal. It really is ultimately what Trump did and said, and the executive privilege or other claims they'll interpose, and I think it'll be a ferocious battle, is, as you say, only a partial, it's a conditional privilege from back in, U.S. versus Richard Nixon days. We know if the evidence is really needed and there's no other way to get it.
What's GovPlus? GovPlus is revolutionizing how you apply for any of these important documents.
Tonight, breaking news, the deadly U.S. military strike for the first time targeting a vessel in the Pacific. The new images tonight, the boat off Central America taking a direct hit, exploding in flames. What President Trump said just moments ago about his authority to target these boats and about potential targets on land. Also tonight, the demolition at the White House.
Too smart for you dumbasses. Seriously, dude.
Expected to be demolished as soon as this weekend to make way for President Trump's $300 million ballroom. Tonight, some Republicans now questioning the optics of this amid a government shutdown. And former First Lady Hillary Clinton tonight saying to the American people, it's not his house, it's your house, and he's destroying it. Tonight, the stunning story of survival off Massachusetts. The family on a boat engulfed in flames, jumping off in the middle of the night, swimming on their own to an island where they were stranded. Their dramatic radio call for help. Tonight, Tropical Storm Melissa now expected to become a major hurricane, eventually a Category 4. The newest bottled in tonight, the potential crash. Lee Goldberg is standing by with the forecast. In New York City tonight, April, after ice sweeps in, arrests along New York City's Canal Street, known for tourists and shoppers looking for designer knockoffs. How many people were arrested? And tonight, the new plane.
Jesus, dude.
Tonight, the former sheriff's deputy charged with murder after the deadly shooting of Sonia Massey in her kitchen in Illinois. The trial has begun, and tonight here's a key testimony from his own partner on that day. Tonight, the horrific images coming in from Ukraine, another Russian attack. This time, kindergartners rushed to safety, surviving while hiding in a shelter. And a short time ago, President Trump tonight on new sanctions against Russia. And the president is asked, why now? Tonight, the deadly multi-vehicle crash on the interstate, the truck causing a chain reaction crash, and news coming in now on the driver of that truck. There's news tonight on the Super Bowl halftime show featuring Bad Bunny. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell breaking his silence for the first time after President Trump sharply criticized his choice. And heard around the world, you have to hear this young American pianist who won, making history tonight, his hometown in Massachusetts celebrating and making his professors right here in Philly very proud. From ABC News, this is ABC World News Tonight with David York, reporting tonight from Philadelphia. Good evening from Philadelphia tonight. You can see Independence Hall right here behind us, and why we're here a bit later in the broadcast. What we do begin tonight with the breaking news. For the first time, the U.S. launching a deadly military attack on a suspected drug boat, this time in the Pacific, off of Central America. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth tonight posting the video online showing the boat taking a direct hit. The boat burning on the water. Authorities say 2 people on board were killed. Hegseth saying the boat was traveling along a known drug trafficking route, comparing drug cartels to Al-Qaeda. At least 34 people have now been killed in 8 known strikes carried out by the U.S. military. Just moments ago, President Trump tonight reacting to the images just released and what he's now saying about his authority to target these boats in international waters and about potential targets on land. ABC's chief national correspondent Matt Gutman leading us off tonight. Tonight, for the first time, the U.S. launching a deadly airstrike on suspected drug boats in the eastern Pacific Ocean off Central America, a major expansion of President Trump's war on the cartels. Secretary Pete Hegseth posted this video of the strike, saying the vessel was involved in illicit narcotics smuggling as part of a sophisticated crime organization, but did not provide evidence. Yet, 2 people were killed. And President Trump just moments ago reacted to the images just
we have legal authority. We're allowed to do that. And if we do buy land, we may go back to Congress, but we have, this is the national security problem.
The administration has been cracking down on suspected drug smugglers in the Caribbean, bombing 7 vessels there since September 2nd. And in a show of force, the U.S. flying 3 B-52 bombers off the coast of Venezuela late last week. President Trump said he also has authorized covert CIA missions inside Venezuela. But this newest strike tonight, targeting the Eastern Pacific, is where roughly 70% of all the cocaine that enters the U.S. is smuggled, according to multiple government agencies. The U.S. Coast Guard has been battling drug smugglers there for more than a decade, chasing boats and arresting suspects to bring with them in 2019. The suspected smugglers even bailed the cocaine into the ocean as the Coast Guard closed in.
Tourists will take all sorts of evasive routes today to evade law enforcement action. So they're going way out. They will, sometimes we're 1,000+ miles from land.
David, the tactic we're seeing now is vastly different from what we witnessed just a couple of years or even a few months ago. Back then, it was the U.S. Coast Guard that was targeting and then trying to apprehend suspected drug smugglers. Now it's other branches of the U.S. military targeting them with airstrikes from above, David.
Matt Gutman leading us off here tonight. Matt, thank you.
Yeah, but how do we,
Demolition at the White House, and all this playing out in the middle of
how do we know they're drug boats, man?
with thousands of federal workers losing their jobs. Tonight, sources telling ABC News the entire East Wing is expected to be demolished as soon as this weekend to clear the way for President Trump's $300 million ballroom. Some Republicans tonight now questioning the optics of this, especially during this shutdown. And now former First Lady Hillary Clinton saying to the American people, it's not his house, it's your house, and he's destroying it. ABC's Barry News tonight.
Tonight, sources tell ABC News President Trump is aiming to tear down the entire east wing of the White House by this coming weekend to make way for his new ballroom, which Trump now says will cost $300 million. When he announced the project, the president pledged it would not interfere with the building known as the People's House.
It won't interfere with the current building. It'll be near it, but not touching it. And it pays total respect to the existing building, which I'm the biggest fan of.
How come I know that guy?
The nation's capital taken by surprise. Bulldozers and cranes started
I
demolition.
swear I know him from the meetings, man.
Take down the existing structure.
So from here we can get a glimpse of this massive construction project, and we can see
Isn't he the guy from AA, dude? Like, don't I see him at the NA meetings? Well, screw him. But dude, I know that guy, dude. Is that the Pittsburgh guy?
Tonight, former First Lady Hillary Clinton dismayed, posting, "It's not his house, it's your house. He's destroying it." The National Trust for Historic Preservation is calling on the administration to pause demolition until plans for the
It's too late, dude.
go through the legally required public review processes. They also write their deeply concerned the planned 90,000 square foot ballroom, larger than the iconic residence building, will overwhelm the White House itself. The White House hasn't submitted plans for the ballroom to the National Capital Planning Commission, but tells us they still intend to, even though demolition is already well underway.
An interior shot of the ballroom. I think there'll be nothing like it. And it's being paid for 100% by me and some friends of mine donate to it. The government's paying absolutely nothing.
The president insists this is all paid for with private donations, but on Capitol Hill, some Republican lawmakers wish to change the subject. The government now shut down, thousands of government workers missing paychecks, and millions of Americans now worried about putting food on the table.
We're talking about building a ballroom when we're trying to get the economy squared away. Timing's bad.
Tonight, House Speaker Mike Johnson, who's kept the House out of session for 22 days and counting, praising the president's ballroom plan.
President Trump can have the greatest improvement to the White House in the history of the building since it was originally constructed in 1800. The ballroom is going to be glorious. It's going to be used for everybody.
Again, this demolition catching much of Washington by surprise, and the White House still has not submitted the plans for official review. But President Trump tonight insisting he's being, quote, more transparent than anybody's ever been. David.
Mary Bruce at the White House tonight. Mary, thank you. We turn now to a remarkable story of survival off Massachusetts tonight. The family on a boat
engulfed in flames, jumping off in the middle of the night, swimming on their own to an island where they were stranded. Their dramatic radio call for help appeared geobeneath.
Tonight, the Cape Cod fans, they're
He's building a fucking.
for their lives.
He's building a golden ballroom for Christ's sake. While over 2 million Americans.
Patrick, his wife Cynthia, and son Tyler set out from Falmouth on Cape Cod on Friday on their 30-foot boat, the third wave.
Well, wait a minute. How many?
Monday night, the family was jolted awake by their barking dog. It turns out the boat was on fire. The Sullivan's jumping from the boat, swimming to nearby Noshon Island, taking shelter in a barn. They did not return Tuesday. A concerned family member reported them missing to the Coast Guard. As the Coast Guard scouts,
Wait,
the family finds the boat
41 million people.
making that Mayday call Wednesday morning.
Okay.
While we were sleeping, we barely escaped death. The vessel had sunk, and we were in the farmhouse on the hill.
Coast Guard choppers finding that farmhouse airlift the family to the hospital. And David, all three family members suffered burns. Cynthia Sullivan is in critical condition, and sadly, family's hero dog who woke them up did not survive. But David, it is just incredible that this family was able to swim to that island.
So many people talking about this remarkable survival story in New England. Thank you, Gio. Next tonight here, Tropical Storm Melissa now expected to become a major hurricane, potentially growing into a Category 4 hurricane. In fact, the latest model is showing the system moving over Cuba and the Bahamas, and then where it heads after that. This is still very early. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg from WABC in New York. Hi, Lee.
Hey, David and Melissa, can call the Caribbean home for the next week. Right now, a 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm forecast to become a hurricane over the weekend. It's just creeping through the Caribbean, and now forecast to be a Category 3 or 4 hurricane by early next week. Hispaniola may be out of the forecast bubble, but not out of danger. There are alerts from Haiti to Jamaica. Look at the futurecast. It's east-side loaded with moisture, so heavy rain is going toward Haiti and Dominican Republic. We could see 6 to 10 inches of rain in the south coast and over to Jamaica as well. There's a big spread in forecast, Patrick, and the concern now is the growing number of potential tracks that get a little closer to the east coast next week. We'll keep on top of it. David?
You will, as always. Lee Goldberg tonight. Thank you.
Trump's.
This evening, there are protests underway in New York City at this hour, 24 hours after ICE swept in, making arrests along Lower Manhattan's Canal Street, known for tourists and shoppers looking for designer knockoffs. Tonight, we're learning more about who was arrested, and this evening, new claims about some who were detained as well. Matt Rivers in Lower Manhattan again tonight.
Tonight, new protests in Lower Manhattan. Just 24 hours after that chaotic federal immigration raid targeting street vendors along New York City's famed Canal Street. ICE says it arrested 9 undocumented immigrants during an operation aimed at the sale of counterfeit goods.
Definitely intelligence-driven. It's not random. We're just not pulling people off the street.
DHS says a handful of protesters were also arrested, but later released without charges. New York Congressman Dan Goldman today blasting ICE for allegedly detaining American citizens. This is a militarized effort to incite tension, passion, and inflame the communities in New York City. The U.S. Attorney General now asking members of the public to handle the videos documenting the actions of federal officers. Tonight, we're learning DHS now surging resources to San Francisco. ABC News learning Coast Guard base nearby will host border protection forces starting today. And David, protests underway once again tonight here in Lower Manhattan. The message here tonight, a clear one. ICE should leave New York City, but the acting director of ICE says the city can expect more immigration arrests in the weeks to come. David?
All right, Matt Rivers on the scene again tonight for us. Matt, thank you. We turn now to the trial of a former sheriff's deputy charged with murder for the deadly shooting of Sonia Massey in her home near Springfield, Illinois. The deputy, Sean Grayson, opening fire during a confrontation in Massey's home. A key witness today, his partner from that day, now testifying to the prosecution, saying the woman in the kitchen, Sonia Massey, quote, never did anything that made me think she was a threat, and that it was Grayson's, quote, actions that raised my sense of awareness. Grayson was pleaded not guilty.
Good man.
From Ukraine tonight, the horrific images coming in after another major Russian attack. This time, kindergartners rushed to safety. They survived while hiding in a shelter. Just a short time ago, President Trump revealing new sanctions tonight against Russia. The president was asked, why now on the sanctions? We
This video circulating online showing a projectile heading towards the building. Then a fiery blast. Spray flying everywhere. The kindergartners inside rushed to safety, surviving in a shelter. It comes 2 months after President Trump met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska, a meeting that only led Russia to intensify its bombardment of Ukraine. Last week, the president, after speaking with Putin, refused Ukraine's request for powerful Tomahawk missiles that could find peace inside Russia. President Trump saying he would soon meet with Putin again in Hungary, but that meeting is now called off.
Why do you think they get sued? Because they do a really good job. So you know what I mean?
Massive sanctions on oil. The two biggest oil companies, among the biggest in the world, but they're Russian. They do a lot of oil, and hopefully it'll push. Hopefully he'll become reasonable, and hopefully Zelensky will be reasonable too. You know, it takes two to tango, as they say.
And again, David, we saw those disturbing images of that Russian attack on a kindergarten in Ukraine. The children inside rushed to safety. Right, the president was asked why he's imposing new sanctions on Russia now. The president says he felt like it was time, saying, quote, we waited a long time.
Oh shit!
Rachel, stop with us here tonight as well. Rachel, thank you. When we come back, the horrific and deadly crash on an interstate. The dash cam images tonight from inside the cab of a tractor trailer slamming into a vehicle, setting off a deadly chain
Jesus.
crash. What we've now learned about the driver of that truck in just a moment. There's also news tonight on the Super Bowl halftime show. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell breaking his silence tonight for the first time after choosing Bad Bunny. What Goodell is now saying about the halftime show after criticism from the president.
So you applied for a new job and you got the interview. Now you gotta nail it. Adobe Acrobat AI assistant can act as a practice partner so you can feel confident and prepared. Just use Adobe Acrobat.
Yeah, because I don't think she's smart.
Ask it to generate potential interview questions so you can think about what you're going to say before the big day. Also not a cool way to practice. Start your free 7-day trial now.
Yeah, dude. If you played their fucking stupid game, dude. See, you're good at first because you compliment them, and but then once it starts to turn serious, my demands and expectations change right away from like an admirer to like someone like I don't know, possessive, angry, jealous. Which is okay because you want a relationship, but that these people aren't like on this app. They're not gonna like proclaim their love for you on their stream right away. I mean, they like the Nugget kind of was. She was saying, "I really like him," and saying things like that. They'll block the audio, dude, on
Goodell saying the Puerto
YouTube.
Rican superstar is, quote, one of the leading and most popular entertainers in the world, adding that the choice was carefully thought through. When we come back tonight, you have to see this. The young American pianist on stage in front of the world, his performance tonight, competing against China, Japan, South Korea, and why he made his professors here in Philly very proud. Finally tonight here, America Strong, the young American pianist who is now the world Korea thought Thomas. The injury is just incredible. When we come back tonight, news this evening on that Super Bowl halftime show featuring Bad Bunny, what NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is now saying, breaking his silence tonight on this. To the index, the NFL tonight standing behind its choice of Bad Bunny to perform at this season's Super Bowl. League Commissioner Roger Goodell reacting publicly for the first time after President Trump's criticism of the pick. Goodell saying the Puerto Rican superstar is, quote, one of the leading and most popular entertainers in the world, adding that the choice was carefully thought through. When we come back tonight, you have to see this. The young American pianist on stage in front of the world, his performance tonight, competing against China, Japan, South Korea, and why he made his professors here in Philly very proud. Finally tonight here, America Strong, the young American pianist who is now the world champion, and you're about to see why. Tonight, the incredible achievement on the world stage. A young American pianist, Eric Liu, graduated from the Curtis Institute of Music here in Philadelphia in 2020, winning what many call the Olympics of the piano world. The 27-year-old Liu is from Bedford, Massachusetts.
And this guy practiced a
5 years,
lot.
hundreds of performers from all over the world applying to compete in the International Chopin Piano Competition. Named after the 19th century composer, 181 performers selected
That's
for
incredible.
in Warsaw. A 17-member jury narrowing it down to 11 finalists, and then awarding the grand prize. Eric Liu. Eric Liu is the first American winner since 1970. I'm so grateful for this honor. This is a dream come true. It was 10 years ago, incredibly at just 17 years old, Eric placed fourth. And this is what he said back then about not giving up. If this can continue on, that would be just the greatest happiness for me. Tonight, here in Philly, the Curtis Institute saying we're thrilled to congratulate recent graduate Eric Liu. And tonight, hi David, that young American pianist, Eric, his message from Warsaw. Perseverance through stressful times could eventually pay off. I spent so many formative years in the city of Philadelphia. Thank you to everyone who supported from back home.
Great story there, man.
We are cheering for you back here in America, Eric, the 27-year-old American making Philly proud in his hometown back in Massachusetts. By the way, we're in Philadelphia tonight, invited by Temple University's Klein College of Media and Communication for an honor and to spend time with their students, and they've been impressive. I'll see you tomorrow night. Good night. ABC's
Right.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Israel's continuing its deadly attacks in Gaza. Despite the U.S. brokered ceasefire, Al Jazeera is reporting hospitals in Gaza received 13 bodies over the past day that Palestinians say they've seen no real change in their lives since the ceasefire. The Nasser Medical Complex in Khan Yunis is reporting Israel's handed over 30 bodies and remains of slain Palestinians. Hamas has handed over the bodies of 15 Israeli hostages as part of the ceasefire deal. On Wednesday, a funeral was held for 54 unidentified Palestinians returned by Israel. It comes as the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, says the amount of aid currently entering Gaza is a, quote, drop in the ocean of what's urgently needed. Here's Abir Atifa of the World Food Program.
Since the ceasefire started on the 11th of October, we now have over 530 trucks into Gaza supporting bakeries, nutrition programs, general food distributions.
Right, dude.
So far, we've had over 6,700 tons of food. That's
Right,
enough for
dude.
close to 500,000 people for 2 weeks. Daily deliveries continue, and they are now averaging around 750 tons. That's much better than what we had before the
Exactly.
ceasefire, but it's still well below our target, which is around 2,000 tons every day.
The Palestinian Prisoner Society says Israeli forces have detained 45 people, including a child, in raids since last night in the occupied West Bank. The group describes Israeli forces have vandalized homes and repeatedly assaulted detainees and their relatives. It comes as the UN Human Rights Office in the occupied Palestinian territory is warning about an alarming rise in Israeli settler violence against Palestinians as the olive harvest season gets underway. So far this year, there were over 750 Israeli settler attacks on Palestinians, which is a 13% increase from last year. On Tuesday, a panel of judges from the Philadelphia-based Third Circuit Court of Appeals appeared skeptical of the Trump administration's attempt to rearrest and deport Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil. The Columbia University graduate was the first pro-Palestinian campus protester to be jailed by the Trump administration over his advocacy of Khalil's lawyers have filed appeals to prevent the
outside the federal court.
This shows how my case is actually just like a test for everyone's rights here across the country.
The federal government shutdown has entered its 22nd day. Earlier this week, the federal judiciary ran out of funding to support the work of nearly 30,000 staffers in 94 district courts. Some of these courts are furloughing staff for the first time in 30 years. It comes as several states are warning they'll be forced to suspend supplemental nutrition assistance program, that's SNAP benefits, by November 1st if the shutdown continues, impacting an estimated 42 million people nationwide. Meanwhile, at a White House Rose Garden lunch for Republican senators yesterday, President Trump unveiled a new nickname for Russ Vought, the White House budget chief, who's been spearheading cuts to programs nationwide amidst the shutdown.
And I will say this, that we have Darth Vader. You know Darth Vader, right? Darth Vader is a man who, I think he's sitting right. Is that Darth? Stand up, please, Darth Vader. Stand up. Does everybody know? They call him Darth Vader. I call him a fine man. But he's cutting Democrat priorities, and they're never going to get him back.
Hazel May,
January
hi.
6th rioter who was pardoned by President
Wow,
Trump
pretty picture.
rearrested for allegedly threatening to assassinate House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries. Christopher Moynihan reportedly sent
Hi,
text
Hazel
to an
May.
unidentified recipient, including, quote, Hakeem Jeffries makes a speech in a few days in NYC. I cannot allow this terrorist to live. And, quote, I will kill him for the future, unquote. Moynihan is among the 1,500 people who participated in the January 6th riots, who were later granted clemency by Trump when he returned to office. In a highly unusual move, President Trump's demanding the Justice Department pay him about $230 million in compensation for the federal probes against him. Many of the senior DOJ officials who would be needed to approve such a payout previously worked for Trump, including the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, his former private attorney. The White House said they would, quote, follow the guidance of career ethics officials. But Attorney General Pam Bondi fired the agency's top ethics advisor in July.
Looks like the
Arizona
fakest
Attorney General
account.
Chris Mays is suing Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson for refusing to swear in Representative
Looks like a
Beverly
super fake
Grijalva. In
account.
the filing, Mays wrote, quote, constitutional rights cannot be used as a bargaining chip, unquote.
You never know.
Mays is asking the court to force Speaker Johnson to swear in Grijalva or designate someone else to do it. By refusing to seat her, Speaker Johnson is depriving 813,000 residents living in Arizona's 7th District of congressional representation. Grijalva says she believes Speaker Johnson's refusing to swear her in to Congress because she would be the final vote on a discharge petition to release the Epstein files. We'll have more on that after headlines. President Trump's nominee to lead the Office of Special Counsel, Paul Ingrassia, withdrew from consideration Tuesday following widespread backlash over a slew of racist and anti-Semitic texts. Ingrassia texted a group of Republicans that he has a, quote, Nazi streak, adding that the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday should be, quote, tossed into the 7th circle of hell, unquote. After the texts were made public by Politico Monday, several Republican senators said they would not support his nomination, including Senate Majority Leader John Thune. As immigration raids ramp up across the country, ICE agents in Los Angeles shot and wounded 2 people in a botched operation Tuesday. The agents reportedly shot an immigrant from Mexico they were attempting to arrest. A bullet then ricocheted and wounded a U.S. Marshal. The person ICE targeted has been identified as Carlitos Ricardo Farias, who is a popular TikTok streamer with over 100,000 followers and often documents ICE raids. He now faces criminal charges. Here in New York, dozens of federal agents, many of them with face coverings, flooded Los Angeles and often documents the person ICE targeted. The agents reportedly shot an immigrant from Mexico they were attempting to arrest. A bullet then ricocheted and wounded a U.S. Marshal. The person ICE targeted has been identified as Carlitos Ricardo Farias, who is a popular TikTok streamer with over 100,000 followers and often documents ICE raids. He now faces criminal charges. Here in New York, dozens of federal agents, many of them with face coverings, flooded lower Manhattan Tuesday afternoon as they targeted immigrant street vendors, most of them from Africa. As news spread of the raid, several people took to the streets in protest. An expose by the Washington Post has revealed Secretary of State Marco Rubio agreed to return 9 leaders of the MS-13 gang in U.S. custody to El Salvador in exchange for President Nayib Bukele's government to allow the U.S. to deport and detain hundreds of immigrants at the Secot mega prison complex. Some of the people Rubio promised to return were U.S. government informants who were under the protection of the Justice Department. Bukele's request came amidst mounting reports of secret deals between his government and MS-13. UN experts say U.S. strikes against Venezuela in international waters amount to extrajudicial executions. The ministry reporting that the CIA has placed sensitive
they have on their side moral and physical support, and deployment of our force in our territory to defend against all threats that loom over the border.
Russian airstrikes killed 7 people, including 2 children in Ukraine today. It comes as President Trump announced his upcoming summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Budapest has been canceled, telling reporters he did not want to, quote, have a wasted meeting. Both Trump and European leaders are calling on Russia to accept a ceasefire along the current front lines. So far, the Kremlin has rejected those calls. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says it isn't surprising Russia's refused to negotiate.
Instead, Russia is once again doing anything to avoid diplomacy. And as soon as the question of long-range weapons for us for Ukraine moved away, Russia almost automatically became less interested in diplomacy.
Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy turned himself in to prison authorities on Tuesday to begin serving a 5-year sentence. Last month, he was found guilty of criminal conspiracy for illegally receiving millions of euros from the late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi to fund his 2007 campaign. Sarkozy is the first former French head of state in the modern era to be convicted of a crime. In Colombia, an appeals court has overturned the conviction of former president and U.S. ally Alvaro Uribe for witness tampering and bribery. Uribe has been sentenced to 12 years of house arrest for allegedly bribing imprisoned members of paramilitary groups to retract damaging testimony exposing Uribe's ties to right-wing U.S.-backed paramilitary groups. Uribe ruled Colombia from 2002 to 2010, during which time there were thousands of extrajudicial killings of civilians who were then purposely mislabeled as rebel fighters in what became known as the false positive scandal. We'll talk more about this later in the broadcast. And indigenous leaders from across Latin America have embarked on a flotilla from the banks of the Napo River in Coca, Ecuador, as they sail to Belém, Brazil, for the UN Climate Summit set to begin next month. Members of the Yakumama Amazon Flotilla are demanding an end to fossil fuels, protections for indigenous territories and ecosystems from oil, mining, and industrial agriculture, and a ban on fossil fuel extraction in the Amazon rainforest. Democracy Now! Will be in Belém broadcasting from the COP30. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now! DemocracyNow.org, The War and Peace Report.
Hey y'all, it's Dave Palazzo, and I'm asking you to become a founding donor of my campaign for U.S. Senate here in Texas. At the top, worked so hard to keep us angry and divided, because our unity is a threat to their wealth and their power. But what they're not expecting is for all of us to come together and take off.
So they say never meet your heroes, but I got to meet one today. His name is Robert Held. You've probably never heard of him. He's a lawyer in Chicago, Illinois. But he did gain some internet notoriety recently because, among other amazing things he's been doing outside of the Broadview Detention Facility in Illinois is he did a quasi-attempted mooning of Gregory Bovino, the head of Customs, Border, and Patrol. And no spoilers, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is a conversation you're not going to want to miss because you will be inspired.
Notice Tom Holman hasn't been speaking in the news so boldly anymore.
From Chicago, Robert, I do my homework before I speak with people, and I was pleasantly surprised to see you're not an immigration lawyer, you're not a First Amendment free speech attorney. In fact, my friend, you are a trust and estates practitioner, meaning you do what we call T&E. You help all of us figure out what the hell happens when we've long gone past this earth through estate planning. But you have now become an inadvertent hero as well for several people that have decided to go and exercise their First Amendment rights outside of the Broadview Detention Facility in Chicago, which I think, humbly, I would submit, has become kind of ground zero for the atrocities, which is ICE and DHS these days. But talk about what happened to you a few weeks ago when you went and you were just protesting outside of Broadview, and they actually took you offensive.
unclear if that DNA belongs to any of the suspects. One more story for you here at the end of our hour. Trailblazing ballet dancer Misty Copeland gave her final performance with the American Ballet Theater last night in New York City. A decade ago, at the age of 32, she became the first black female principal dancer in the company's 75-year history. According to the New York Post, tickets for last night's performance went for as much as $4,000. An amazing career, an amazing person, and trailblazer. Congrats to her on that milestone. And that was way too early for this Thursday morning. Morning Joe starts right now.
Coming soon to HGTV. You know Flip or Flop? Well, we've got an all-new version starring the president. Introducing Flip or Flop or It Up. Reporting on the White House.
Not funny though.
We're gonna flip it. Will he flop? A complete flop. Or will he it up? Knock it down with a giant wrecking ball. Tonight on HGTV. After an episode of Love It or Epstein Listed.
Jimmy Fallon's take on the massive demolition underway on the grounds of the White House. We'll talk about the growing scope and soaring price tag of the president's construction project. Trump, meanwhile, is acknowledging his talks with Vladimir Putin are going nowhere.
Oh, shit.
What that frank admission means for the war in Ukraine also ahead. How Republicans on Capitol Hill are reacting to the Pentagon's plan to limit the military's contact with Congress. And to paraphrase the president, they're not sending their best. We'll talk about the mixed results from the administration's recruiting push by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Good morning and welcome to Morning Joe. It is Thursday, October 23rd. Along with Joe, Willie, and me, we have MSNBC National Affairs analyst and a partner and chief political columnist at POC, John Heilman. Washington Bureau Chief at USA Today, Susan Page is with us. Rogers Chair in the American Presidency at Vanderbilt University, historian John Meacham is with us, and President Emeritus of the Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haass is here. So, Joe, a lot to get to this morning. We're watching the White House slowly get chipped away on the East Wing. Or
you call that chipping away?
More like a wrecking ball. Complete demo.
I mean, it's it raises the question, like, is there no oversight? Could a president tear down the entire White House if he wanted to? I think Charlie Sykes was asking that question yesterday. It's kind of surprising. I like, there will be people who say, well, presidents have done this and that. Yeah, that's right, they have, but like with zero oversight, that's the thing that and Willie, it goes to, Pam Bondi's oversight hearing that we saw, I think, last week, where just the absolute contempt for the people that write checks to fund your agency. And now you have Pete Hegseth, who runs the Pentagon, saying, hey, according to these reports, we're going to, just like we did with the press, we're going to stop reporting to you guys as much. And of course, a couple of Republican senators obviously concerned, but that would be like a child telling his parents or her parents, I'm not going to show you my report card, but keep giving me my allowance. I mean, it really is that way. It's like they can say all they want to say. They can get together and have their little Project 2025, their little Project 2026s. All they want. At the end of the day, the Constitution gives the power of the checkbook to the United States Congress. So for Pete Hegseth to say, oh, well, we're just not going to report as much to Congress, or for these members of the administration to treat Congress with such contempt, or to just completely tear apart the White House without consulting with Congress. Not that these Republicans have shown much of a spine anyway, but still, I really do think there are people who are in and let me say this slowly so they understand, the second branch of government, who now think they're the only branch of government because they got elected by, 49.9% of the vote.
Yeah, plurality of the vote is what President Trump got in the last election. They don't want oversight at all. If you look at that here, the oversight hearing that Pam Bondi had that you mentioned, where she sort of mocked the entire process and just attacked the people asking questions about simple oversight. Now you have Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth saying, yeah, we don't want you thumbing around and looking through our records and knowing what we're doing here, which is literally the job of the United States Congress. They don't want people, they don't want Congress to execute its job effectively in and out around this administration. So it's you asked, is there no oversight even of tearing down large portions of the White House? There's supposed to be. There's an entire organization that looks at federal construction projects that has said a 90,000 square foot ballroom will completely overwhelm the 55,000 foot White House that sits next to it. There's always oversight in place. The question is, does the administration have any respect for it? Does it recognize Congress and other organizations' job to oversee what the executive branch is doing?
Well, and is Congress going to actually have the nerve, the backbone, the spine to actually do their jobs on every one of these fronts? I mean, again, it's in past times, if any attorney general treated any members of the Senate with such contempt, or people went up to the Hill and treated those who were committing oversight on the administration, the first branch giving oversight to the second branch, which the first branch completely funds, because that's what the United States Constitution would say, Mika, you would have Republicans and Democrats together going, wait, I think you got this backwards. You may want to go back and read the Constitution. Doesn't matter what some dork in some Washington think tank is telling you. The Constitution gives the first branch the power to fund and the power of oversight. And right now, the second branch is doing whatever it wants, because too many of the first branch are giving them free rein, and the impact is going, again, said it a billion times, I'll say it again, it is Republicans who will pay for this in the future, unfortunately. It is independents, it is Democrats. I mean, we will all pay for the precedents that this weak and enfeebled Congress is setting right now.
We're going to talk about this a little bit more in a moment, but first, our top story this morning, the United States is imposing new sanctions on Russia, including largest oil companies, along with dozens of their subsidiaries. The Treasury Department made the announcement yesterday. The sanctions may expect the companies named in the announcement. The Wall Street Journal highlights the warning in the sanctions notice that, quote, foreign financial institutions that conduct or facilitate significant transactions or provide any service involving Russia's military-industrial base also run the risk of being sanctioned. Since Russia launched its full-scale war on Ukraine, its lucrative oil industry has been the primary source of funding for its war efforts. Yesterday, in the Oval Office, President Trump discussed that and recent comments from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who said Vladimir Putin has not been honest and forthright with Trump.
It is a very big day in terms of what we're doing. I guess these are tremendous sanctions.
We understand the president has been far more subservient to Vladimir Putin in the past. But this has seemed to be a process. It's been a very jagged process, but after Anchorage having the European leaders come in, which was a historic group of European leaders coming together, they've been talking about sanctions. I think these sanctions are positive sanctions. I like the fact that they're going to sanction any institution that deal with the Russians on oil, and certainly, hopefully, the Europeans will be there shoulder to shoulder on the sanctions part of it and not getting oil. But this is, I do think, I won't say it's a significant step because who knows, maybe it changes tomorrow. But I will say it's a significant trajectory that we are going in. If we continue with that trajectory, with pressure being put on Vladimir Putin, with oil close to, it's down to about $60 per barrel. He doesn't have the money to continue fighting this war. Putin doesn't. Doesn't matter how much he flexes his muscles or gets on top of a horse without his shirt on. It doesn't change the facts on the ground. And the facts on the ground are, first of all, he can't get the territory on the battlefield that he wants to get at the negotiating table. And he can't make Russia's economy any better than it is. And it is really, really weak right now. These sanctions should hurt it.
Well, we can put to the side for the moment the president's batting average on all these wars I did, to put it in his terms, talking about how he did 7 or 8 wars. Let's focus on this one, Richard Haas. Is this a trajectory? Does this look like a plan to you? And why does President Trump seemingly go back and give Putin another chance? Seemingly go back and give him the benefit of the doubt when everyone has known who Vladimir Putin is and what he wants for decades now?
I'm going to answer this question really on behalf of all think tank dorks in order to keep Joe happy here.
One of the best.
You're one of our favorites, Richard. One of our favorites. But you don't go around thinking that the dorkdom that you do in a think tank has the power to override the United States Constitution. There are certain people in Donald Trump's government that do think that what they think of is their bespectacled glasses while they're in some dorkdom think tank in Washington, D.C. has more pull and more power than the Constitution of the United States. You would never do that, Rich.
I would never do. They certainly have selective readings of that. It's kind of the short version of the Constitution. They skip Article 1 and things like that. It kind of gets you to the end really, really quickly. Look, I think you used a good word here, which is trajectory of the policy. I like two things that seem to have gotten out. One is the reduction of restraints on the use of U.S. intelligence to attack targets, economic and military targets inside Russia. Good step. Second of all, these financial sanctions against the oil companies, they're welcome. They're not game changers. Increasingly, the world is learning how to move around weaponized dollar sanctions. Florida, China, and others are stepping up. Welcome trajectory, as Joe was saying. The big thing, again, still missing, which is direct help for Ukraine. You really want to make a difference. The president wants to get to the peace he wants, help Ukraine, because that's the only way I know to persuade Putin that a ceasefire, however reluctant he is to accept it, is the least bad option for him. Why is the president, there's a Groundhog Day quality to this bully. Why is the president again so, what's the word, willing to work with Putin? He seems surprised every time. The other metaphor that comes to mind is Lucy in the football. He keeps stepping up to the football, gets yanked away, and he seems surprised every time. I can't answer why. I doubt, though, we're going to get a permanent shift against Putin. Again, the one thing to look for is large-scale military help to Ukraine. It's the only way I know to get to a ceasefire and to maintain a ceasefire. Until we get there, I think this could go back and forth. It will go back and forth many more times.
Jeez.
Well, of course, the thing that always held Joe Biden back in the early part of the war, and what Donald Trump has certainly expressed concerns about, as well as the fact that Russia has a fairly significant stockpile of nuclear weapons, and they do. So, so that will have you treating foreign powers a little bit differently. But again, we're just talking about a trajectory. This trajectory seems to be positive, and it was good to hear the president say that yesterday in the White House. Now, Alex, John Meacham is a very unkind man at times. We don't understand why, But he said, Joe, you brought up dorks. Why don't you go to Meacham next? And that hurt me because I know you were anything but a dork. In fact, sort of that dark shadows lighting that you have on you kind of makes you actually quite a frightening figure. Yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. We need the dark shadows theme going to break. John, I do. Let's talk though about what the president has done. We're not going to have the 87 wars that he claims to have ended. But let's talk about the Middle East, which of course is going to be rocky road for a while. But how significant would it be if this president were able to get a ceasefire, a lasting ceasefire in the Middle East, and this 20-point plan, and if in fact he were able to bring an end to the war between Russia and Ukraine, with Ukraine gaining some semblance of autonomy from future Russian threats?
Oh.
The second part is the critical one, and I must say I'm delighted that we led with the dork attack against Haas. This is actually progress.
Yes, exactly.
From my point of view, so I'm all for that. I apologize for the dark shadow. It's like 3 acres down here today, and so we're having some wireless.
Anyway.
On what terms can this remarkably bloody war of aggression in Europe end? And so peace without a just settlement would not go to the Trump column. And we all know that the Trump column is incentive, which by the way is fine, right? We want results, so as the motivations matter less.
Okay, well, I'm cooking my breakfast, so.
Who are you?
What is this? Who are you?
Hear me.
I'm Saga Anderson, FBI. I can hear you.
Cauldron Lake.
Yes, I'm at Cauldron Lake. Where are you?
To escape. In danger. The Dark Presence.
Danger. Thanks. Got it. Hey! Are you okay?
That was tough, man. Tough.
It got out with my face. Scratch.
Sir, calm down. I'm gonna need you to take a breath.
He's changed the story. The Dark Presence. We must stop it before.
Easy now. First things first. What's your name?
My name is Alan Wake. I'm a writer. I've been...
Wake? Where did you come from? You've been missing for 13 years.
13.
In the dark, miles apart, made a promise that I'm coming out alive. Raging heart, went too far. I will never lose myself again, or I was calling you, did you hear me? I lost my way, lost my way. I was trapped in 1,000 nights with no escape. Nightmares taking me over, and now I'm wide awake. And now I'm wide awake. Oh, I died like 1,000,000 times through the waves I break. The nightmare's finally over, and now I'm wide awake. And now I'm wide awake. Blinding lights, burning eyes. I can see myself and I don't need to hide. My foolish pride paid the price. I will never leave again, I'm by your side. I was calling you, did you hear me? I lost my way, lost my way. I was trapped in 1,000 nights with no escape. Nightmares taking me over, and now I'm wide awake. And now I'm wide awake. Oh, I died like 1,000,000 times through the waves I break. The nightmare's finally over.
Anders, where did you go? All of a sudden, the radio stopped working, and then that flooding just disappeared. Crazy forest. Is this who I think it is?
Casey, say hello to Alan Wake. Mr. Wake, this is Special Agent Alex Casey. He'll escort you to our car. Casey, I'll meet you there, right after I take a look around. If the flooding's receded, there might be evidence we missed earlier.
Okay. See you there.
Alex Casey? How? Am I still... Is this the dark place? No, it can't be. I got out.
PI from your books has the same name as me. Great. Moving on. It's a bit of a hike to the car, Wake. Get your bearings, and we'll head out.
I need another minute. Cauldron Lake. I thought I'd never see this place again.
Take your time. But you should know these woods aren't the safest.
Yeah. It's getting dark. You have a flashlight? It's not safe without a light.
I have a light. And a gun. You can relax, Wake.
And pages. If you see pages of writing anywhere, you must take them and keep them safe. Our lives could depend on it. They have vital information.
We know about the pages, Wake. We'll keep an eye out for them.
Okay. Okay, just give me a moment. It's okay.
Take your time.
Should look around. With the flooding gone, could be further clues out there. The flooding disappeared very suddenly. I wonder if there's any connection to the overlap. To Nightingale. A locked box. Is that the cult of the tree symbol on it?